Club motorsport in the United Kingdom is seen as one of the most interesting, competitive and exciting in the world. And for the remainder of 2021, I want to take you inside one of the UK's flagship organisations, the 750 Motor Club. We'll get to know the drivers, the cars and the tracks and let you know how you can get involved and go racing yourself. In this first episode, we're going to be focusing on the Sports 1000 Championship. With its extremely high power-to-weight ratio, these cars can actually lap a number of the UK's venues faster than the British touring cars. So let's get to know some of the drivers in the Sports 1000 Championship and their journey to getting here and racing with them in 2021.
My name is Rich Miles and I compete in the Sports 1000 Championship with the 750 Motor Club.
My name's Colin Chapman and I race in the Sports 1000 Championship.
So going back a few years, what's your earliest memory of motorsport, maybe just as a fan?
Oh, as a fan, probably watching the F1 with my dad on ITV back in the day, like 2005. Springs to mind is the Indianapolis GP in 2005 when all the Michelin tyres exploded. For some reason, that's like my early racing memory.
Well, my dad used to race, so I've been at motocross meetings since I was a baby. Go-kart racing, and since I was 3 or 4, and I had a go-kart at 5, but I started racing motocross when I was 10, so I've been racing since the mid-60s.
Wow.
It's something.
I went to watch the F1 at Silverstone, so here in 2005, that's a good memory, definitely. Good old V10s. I think we went to British Superbikes in 1999 or something, but I was only 5, so
Don't really remember.
don't really remember much about it.
In the Sports 1000 Championship, you can run a number of 4-stroke motorcycle engines from Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki and Yamaha. There is some freedom in the suspension and braking and the bodywork as well, allowing drivers to develop the cars around them. The transmission ratios must be standard for the engine that is being used, and also the cars be running Yokohama A048Rs as their control standard tyres, with a different tyre for wet conditions. The outcome of all of this is a championship that gives drivers great value for money over a season, while also allowing competitors to adapt areas of the cars around them. For more details and the championship regulations, please check out the video description. There'll be a link to the 750 Motor Club website where you can get to know more. So what's the story and the motivation to get into racing like yourself, like taking that step?
Yeah, so in about 2014 when I was 19 or so, I decided I wanted to get into racing. I'd done a little bit of karting when I was a young lad, only for a year or so. So me and my old man just decided we'd get an old BMW 318, build it up and enter into the Compact Cup. So we've done 3 seasons of that, club racing, ran out of money, gave it a break for a while. Then we were like, what's faster than that but for a reasonable price? And we found these, we built up a nice Spire, so here we are.
I think I started in '67 at the age of 10 and raced motocross solos, then motocross sidecars, then I had a bit of a break with the kids at the age they were, but still did 1 or 2 things a year. And then I got a kit car to do some track days, and within 3 months I'd taken my hard test and started racing.
First race weekend, outlapping qualifying, pouring rain, Brands Hatch Indy, spun it at Paddock Hill Bend as you do, got it beached in the gravel, didn't set a qualifying lap, started last. Started last in the first race, got taken out of the first corner even though I started last. Spun out, red flag, back to the pit lane, repaired the car, out for race 2, managed to finish race 2. So yeah. I'm
one of these guys that started at the back and worked his way up. I'm not a front ender. I'm talent limited, but just keep trying.
We were just thinking about cars. Obviously, the BMW produced fantastic racing, huge grids, but the car itself is a little bit tame, not super fun to drive. So we're thinking, what's a car that even without racing would be, really enjoyable to drive? So you can take these out on an empty track and still have a massive smile on your face. And for the price, it's fantastic. There's nothing that comes close, really. So we just thought we'll take our time, spend probably near enough 2 years building it, just buying parts for it. Here we are, and the race has been amazing.
For the money, there is nothing to compare with this championship performance, because we're doing lap times, the British Touring Car lap times, and we're riding on tyres that last us. If you didn't test, the tyres would last you a whole season. I use 2 sets a year, and they're box standard engines. You're not allowed to tune them, so everybody's in the same sort of state, and the money, you don't have to spend big money on them. So it literally is nothing, I don't think, for the money. that you can get this sort of performance from. It's just, I keep looking around wondering if I should try something different. So I've been doing it for 17 odd years, this championship. There isn't, so I don't go anywhere.
The speed initially bends your brain a bit, just how quickly the cars accelerate, the braking distances, and then obviously in the corners the downforce, and just how raw the car is. It's a proper driving car. When you're sitting there you feel vulnerable, which is good. Like, it feels like an old school F1 car almost. So it's just engaging. Like, you can't drive these and not be switched on.
Creating a club motorsport series that is sustainable, good value for money and enjoyable is actually a lot harder than you think. But the 750 Motor Club have done a fantastic job over the last few years, especially in creating this great environment around all their series and championships. This year, the Sports 1000 Championship will be running a calendar that includes Silverstone, Croft, Snetterton, Anglesey, Brands Hatch and Alton Park. And these weekends typically offer a 15-minute qualifying session followed by two 20-minute races. And where possible, the events will take place over just one day. This helps cut the costs for the competitor. So what are the costs for the Sports 1000 Championship? Well, first off, you're going to pay the £25 for the club membership, then £120 for the yearly season registration, and then the entry fees, they're looking at between £295 and £395. That's very, very reasonable in club motorsport. And then for the car itself, if you want to buy one that's ready-made, possibly of someone who's been racing in this championship, you're probably looking at between £12,000 and £15,000. But of course, you can also build something up from scratch yourself. So something that I've noticed around the 750 Motor Club paddock is the incredibly friendly staff, drivers, helping each other out to have good fun out on track, whilst also maintaining a really healthy social side to the club and the championships outside of the racing.
They're not as planted to some cars. They move around a lot, which is great. The performance is so good, and the noise they make is mind-blowing. You can't read a 13,000 RPM bike engine compared, nothing else is the same. I don't know why people put car engines in race cars, personally. My two closest races ever were here, with the guy next door, with Tim, a couple of years ago, where we were this far apart on the last corner. I was on the international track, and he beat me by 0.001 of a second or something by going off the track. And then here again on the national with Albon about 10 years ago, where we must have overtaken each other about 20 times during the race. So those are the two of my favourite races to watch.
But the goal essentially is just to be competitive. So every weekend, if we can just turn up and just put a bit of a fight up, we'll be happy, because we're just here to have fun, really. It's not it's super serious. So if we can just turn up, be competitive, if we get a few wins along the way, maybe even fight for the championship, that's an added bonus. Generally just have a laugh.
And as with every championship and series that I'm going to be featuring in these videos, you can follow the links in the video description to learn more. You can read the regulations and find all the possible contacts to get racing yourself. I want to say a massive thank you to the 750 Motor Club for allowing me to create this series. I'm really looking forward to competing myself more and also releasing more of this content, allowing you inside one of the UK's biggest club motorsport series and championships. It really has been a fantastic start, and I can't wait to do more. See you soon.